Hello neighbors, thanks for joining me for Stampin' Sunday here at Crafting in My Corner. I'm Alicia Dolan, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and tonight we are going to be making a card featuring Stampin' Up's Painted Poppies stamp set, which is one of my favorites, and I will give you a little insight into this card before we get started. Back in the spring, late spring, I ordered some seeds and I haven't got them planted yet, but I found these really cool black peony poppy seeds. And so I fully intend to plant them. I just haven't gotten it done this year. So hopefully they'll still be good next year. I think they'll be really beautiful flowers. But they are my inspiration for tonight's card. So I'm going to go ahead and get my camera turned around and we will get started with tonight's card. So if you will bear with me just 1 second. I'm trying something a little bit different tonight. So if it looks a little strange, that is why. Let's see. And let me get this moved out of the way. And here is this. Okay, so tonight the colors that we're using are Blackberry Bliss, Fresh Fresia, and Basic White. At least so far, that's my plan so far. So our Blackberry Bliss is cut to 8.5 by 4.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4. Our Fresh Fresia is cut at 3 1/4 by 4.5, and then our Basic White is cut at 3 by 4 1/4. So what we are going to do to start is we're going to be using the Painted Poppies and the Peaceful Moments stamp sets. Hi, Kathy. It's good to see you tonight. I'm trying to watch for comments this time. I can't always do it. All right, and so the stamp that we are going to use first is this one. And we're going to put it excuse me, I've been outside today, so my voice is a little raspy, I guess. Okay, so we're gonna put this one right in the center. Let me grab let's see, this is block H that I'll stamp it with. I hope that you can see well tonight. Everything's sorted out a little bit different. And I forgot to turn my computer on, so I can't tell yet what everything looks like. Okay, let me grab. We're going to use our black Memento ink pad for the stamping. So I'm going to stamp this up. And I know that I'm a slow stamper, so if you are watching me on YouTube, I don't know if this is an option on Facebook or not, but I just learned the other day that you can speed up or slow down the people that you're watching on YouTube. There's a little button somewhere that tells the speed of what you're doing. And so I thought it was really cool that, because sometimes people talk too fast for me, and so then I have to slow them down. Okay, so we're going to stamp this right in the middle. And tonight we don't need our Stampin', no, I can't think what it's called. Stampin' Pierce mat, because we are using the red rubber stamps. So you only need extra foam when you're using the photopolymer stamps. All right, so that is set and all cleaned off. And then we are going to, hold on, my inks got all mixed up when I was traveling. So we're going to use our Blackberry Bliss, and tonight I'm going to use this little ink pad, and I'm going to stamp on one of my acrylic blocks, and I'm going to pull the ink from that with my blender pen. I still haven't got everything put away from my camping trip. So you really might want to speed me up if I'm going too slow, which is definitely a good possibility today. All right, so we're going to color in our flower. I'm just going to color the light parts first, kind of blend it in. And I'm using the small ink pad tonight because I don't have a full-size Blackberry Bliss ink pad yet. And I say yet because I do want one. I really want all the colors, but I haven't gotten them all yet. So I'm gonna try and color so that and you can see how the color kind of runs out on my blender pen after a little bit. But it's okay because I can add a little more ink and I can go back and fill those parts in. Now I am trying to move a little quickly while I'm coloring, because when you use a blender pen or a Stampin' Right marker, it sets up quickly, it dries quickly. And since I want things to blend together a bit, I don't want to wait too long to color over the areas that I want to be blended well. And you can always add a little more ink, but you can't always take any away. Especially because I'm using the thinner cardstock tonight. I'm just using the basic white. I'm not using the thick white, and I'm not using watercolor paper or the shimmer paper. And the three of those take coloring a little better than what this one does. So I'm just going to wipe the end of this on my Stampin' Chamois real quick. So now my blender pen is clean, and the next color I need is some green. And I think we'll use Old Olive, and I actually have a marker for that. That's this one. And this is a Stampin' Right marker. It has classic ink in it. It's not an alcohol-based ink, it's water-based. So we're just going to color the stem and the flower. And like I said, you're going to want to move kind of quickly when you're using Stampin' Right markers or the blender pens, because the ink it's a very wet ink, and you don't want to hold it on the paper. It will bleed. So I'm trying hard to, I probably should use the thinner end when I'm trying so hard to stay on the lines. Okay, so there is that. And we can start to put our card together now. Just gonna dry that a little bit. And then I'm gonna use the liquid glue to put these two layers together. So I'm gonna attach my basic white to my fresh Fresia layer. And I'm gonna center it, and like I always tell you guys, I like the liquid glue because I have the ability to move my pieces just slightly if they're crooked before they dry. So if you need to scoot them a little bit, you can. You still have to move kind of quickly, but you have the possibility to switch it. Not switch it, but scoot it a little bit if it's not quite straight. Okay, so next we are going to turn this one over, and let me grab my Stampin' Dimensionals. And we're going to put, I just have the mini ones here close by. And I'm going to put one in each corner. And then because they are small, I'm going to stick one in the middle too. And then we'll just peel their backs off. And center it over the Blackberry Bliss card. And now you could leave it like this if you just wanted to send a card without a sentiment, but let's add a sentiment to it. So all of this was done with the Painted Poppies stamp set, and a stamp set that goes really well with them, it's on the same page in the catalog, is the Peaceful Moment stamp set. So I think I need a card personally that's a thinking of you card, and so I'm going to use this thinking of you with all my heart. And so I'm going to turn this, take this out of the stamp case, and I'm going to measure it just to see what size I need. And let me scoot this out of the way for just a moment. And if I put it on my grid, I can measure out what size I want it to be. And I'm thinking about 2 1/4 inches wide by maybe 1 1/4 tall. So I probably have some scrap pieces that are that size, but I'm just going to cut one so that we're not waiting on me. So if I get my trimmer, and I always want to set it on a flat surface where it's even, where it's not going to wobble. So I said 1 1/4 by 2 1/4, I think. And if you don't have a trimmer, this is by far the best trimmer that I've used. It has a trimming blade and a scoring blade, and it's really easy to use, and I like that if my paper is too small, I could line it up inside here and then press down on the measurement bar, and it will hold it in place so that I can cut it exactly the size I need without worrying about it sliding around or or getting in the wrong spot. Okay, so let's set those aside, and then I'm going to cut another piece of Blackberry Bliss to go behind this where I'm going to stamp this sentiment. So I'm going to need a piece that's 1.5. Oh, I've got to move it back again. I need a piece that's 1.5 by 2.5. Because when I'm layering, I tend to go up just 1/4 of an inch. I like the size of that. I like the shape and the way it fits one behind the other. So now we're going to stamp our sentiment right on this piece of basic white. And I'm going to use the same acrylic block, block H. And I'm going to line up my words so that they're nice and straight, hopefully. And my block. And then we'll use our Memento black ink again. And when you're inking up your stamps, you just want to tap your ink pad on there. You want it to be level. You don't want any smudges, if you can help it. So if you just tap it on there a few times, and then check to make sure that it's fairly well covered. And then we'll turn it over and stamp it right in the middle. There we go. And then I'm going to close up my ink right away so I don't have any accidents. There are lots of times where I get ink all over the place before I even know what's happening. All right, and then I'm going to turn that over again and add a little bit of liquid glue. And my liquid glue, when I store it, I have a little yellow bucket that I keep all of my supplies in. So I store my liquid glue so that it points this way. So I almost never use this end of the liquid glue. I almost always use the pointier end. So if you're wondering how to store it, that's my favorite way to keep it, in a little bucket upside down, or point side down, I guess. And now I'm gonna put this on here just like this. So I'm gonna turn it over, and I want to do a Stampin' Dimensional on each of these edges, but not on this edge. So we're going to put one here, here, and here. And I'm going to put it close to the edge because I don't want it to get caught up on my other image. So 1, 2, 3. Then that's not my, okay, I can't find my little box. Oh, there it is. My little box of glue dots. So I have these little mini glue dots, and I'm going to put one in that last corner because I want to make sure it sticks. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to open it up and just stick that corner on the glue dot and pull it up that way. Then I can peel off the backs of my Stampin' Dimensionals and scoot them to the side. And then I'll add these right here, just like that. And let's see. I'm looking for the right little sparkly something to put on there. And I think I'm going to use these Artistry Blooms adhesive back sequins. So I just need to open those up. And there is a color in here that's kind of a red color, but I think that'll be, it has some purple to it, so I think it'll look really good with the Blackberry Bliss. So I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool. And let's see, I'm going to try and choose, they're a little different shades. So I'm going to try and choose a little bit darker of the sequins just to add on there. And we'll put on 3. There we go. Oops, it looks like there's a sequin without a back, but I'll just use some glue on that one later. All right, so there is our Stampin' Sunday card for tonight. I'm so glad that you could join me either here on Facebook or on YouTube. I will post this video on YouTube later, including all the measurements in the description and a link to the Painted Poppies stamp set and the Peaceful Moment stamp set. In case you're interested in those, if you have any questions about stamping or crafting, feel free to message me or get a hold of me, and I will see you all again next week for another Stampin' Sunday video. Next week it might not be live. I'm going to try to pre-record one because I know that I have a lot going on next Sunday. So I hope you all have a wonderful week and get to lots of stamping and have a great week. I will see you again soon. Goodbye, everyone.